What's up, guys? This is YGO Silence coming at you with another deck profile. Now today I'm going to be showing you guys a deck very near and dear to my heart. And that's my Darklords, alright? This is a deck that was something I was very interested in when I first got back into Yu-Gi-Oh! A year and a half ago. And it's a deck I've been playing non-stop since I completed the deck for about a year. I'm very familiar with it, I know it like the back of my hand, and recently I've had a lot of success with it. I took this to the locals the other day and ended up going 4-0, and on top of that I went 8-0 and did not lose a single one of my rounds. I went 2-0 against every single opponent I played. It was very successful for me. My matchups were Blue Eyes round 1, round 2 is ABC, Pendulum Magician FTK round 3, and then round 4 it was Spiral. Very good matchups all around, you know, strong meta contenders. And people were just very surprised on how to deal with it. They could not reliably get around to Vanity's Fiend with Disruption on top of it. Very difficult to do. Darklords have never had a power ceiling problem. The consistency has always been the issue. And like I said, 8-0, I mean, that consistency speaks for itself. But anyway, let's get right into this video. I do apologize if I sound nasally. I'm battling a sickness right now, but I really wanted to get this video out to you guys so you know what's up. But anyway, let's get started. Alright, let's start off with this main deck. Now this is the exact main deck I played at locals. Alright, it was extremely consistent for me. I would not change a thing. Starting off, 3 X-Gel. You gotta run 3 X-Gel. It's self-explanatory. It's a destiny draw for the deck. Lets you get your monsters in grave. Lets you generate advantage. Just like that. 3 Superbia. Trade-in target, allure target, X-Gel target. It allows you to special summon another Darklord from grave when it's summoned. You pretty much just tribute this for vanities. It's incredible. It's very good. 3 Nostin. I see people, for some odd reason, running 2 of this, running 1 of this. I even saw a profile where there were no Nostins in the deck. And that baffles me because it's a hand fixer. It's an excellent card. You want to see this in your hand. Very, very good. I would not change the ratio. You need 3. Then the 1-ofs, 1 Zerato, 1 Morningstar, and 1 Amdusk. You know, these are good as 1-ofs. For a while, I tried to play with 2 Zerato. It just became too bricky. You know, you gotta get that consistency down. But Darklord, Zerato, Darklord Morningstar, Darklord Amdusk, all claim and clutch for me at different times. Amdusk allowing me to get my 1 Darklord contact because I banished my other 2 off Desires. Morningstar allowing me to OTK, and then Zerato clearing boards. They all have their place, and so you definitely want to run 1 of each. That's all the Darklords you run. Don't waste your time with stuff like Catalopica or Ukobak. They're not worth it. The only normal summon you run in this deck is Vanity's Fiend. This is your god when you're playing this deck. Alright, this card is absurd. Alright, it's unfair, and if they don't have an out on it, you just sit on it. Vanity's Fiend is an absurd card. Big, 2400, which is hard to get over when you're not able to special summon to get around it. Your turn 1 boards, what I'm usually trying to pump out is a Vanity's Fiend, a Hope Harbinger, and maybe a Darklord with a Trap in grave. That's what I would like, you know, the high end. More often than not, though, it's usually a Darklord with the Trap in grave plus Vanities, or Hope Harbinger with Vanities. You know, you're kind of getting one or the other, but it still works out very consistently. And then also, you're running 5 Vanity's Fiends in this deck, so you also run 2 Arklord Christia. This is a lot better because you're able to special summon this. And then sometimes you get lucky and you end up with 4 Darklords in grave, and you're just outright special summoning Christia, and it's a 2800 beast that you're bringing out. So very, very helpful. That's all the monsters you run. Let's go to the spells. This is a somewhat of a spell-heavy deck. You're running 20 spells, 17 monsters, and only 3 traps. But you want that many spells because it helps with the consistency, allows you to kind of get your combos off. But anyway, 3 Contact and 3 Banishment. This is non-negotiable. These are your combo pieces. If you see Banishment, it's never bad. I've had hands where I've opened all 3 Banishment and it ended up okay. You know, you can work around with these cards very effectively. you'd want to see these, because if you're seeing Banishment, you're getting at least 2 searches, just generic Darklord searches, and then Contact, 2 special summons. Great. Very effective. Time for the consistency engine. We run a lot of draw power. So 3 desires. You gotta run 3. Allows you to generate advantage, and yeah, every once in a while you'll draw desires off of desires, and that sucks, but you're still getting a card from your deck, and it allows you to effectively think of it like an Into the Void if you're only getting 1. Next, 3 Allure. Allure is beautiful in this deck. You want to run it at 3. Pretty much, well, 15 of your cards are Allure targets, and that's just too good to pass up. Next, I run 3 Trade-In. You have 6 Trade-In targets. Alright, now that doesn't seem like much, but the rest of your draw power is so consistent, and the Darklords and Arklord Christia that are the Trade-In targets, you want to get them engraved. So Trade-In's an excellent card. Then the one-ofs, 1 Soul Charge, 1 Monster Reborn, 1 Foolish, 1 My Body, and 1 Upstart. All of these had their place. The MVP of the deck, and I wish it had a foil reprint, My Body as a Shield is awesome. It's the clutch card of the deck. You only want to run 1 because any more and it becomes bricky, but this card is just hilarious when you drop Vanity's Fiend plus that face down. They activate Regeki and you kind of just laugh at them. You know, it's so hard to deal with. And then Upstart, it's a 39 card deck. I believe the numbers are 13 out of your 40 card deck is draw power. You just don't stop. And then the traps, 2 Rebellion, and 1 Enchantment. Definitely clutch card, run the Enchantment. It's really, really nice. It actually won me the game in the Spiral matchup, game 4, because I actually, he had a sleeper with Tough equipped to it, so it was untargetable, couldn't be destroyed. So I just took his sleeper with Enchantment, used its effect to pop 2 cards on his side of the field, and it didn't destroy itself because it was still equipped with Tough, and then I OTK'd him, and that got me the win. But that is our spell and trap. Let's go off to the extra deck. Alright, starting off with the extra deck. Now the extra deck is actually really malleable in this deck. You're really not going into too many of the cards in there. They're kind of just option pieces, which is why some of the side deck cards are what they are, so you'll see that in a little bit. And then also the side deck is really, really weird because Darklords are so reliant on consistency. So some of this stuff may look weird. Just trust me on this, guys. Alright, I've been working on this a long time. I like to think I know what I'm talking about when it comes to this deck. But definitely run what I'm talking about here. But anyway, 2 Harpawbringer. This is what you want to see. Alright, you want to go into this as much as possible. Lancelot is there. I use it just if I know they're going to side some evenly matched on me. You know, it happens usually. I'll be worried about that, and so I'll drop a Lancelot on there. Then 1 Felgrand. It comes in every once in a while if you're dealing with, it's usually a going second card for dealing with an annoying monster. But yeah. Then the full Galaxy Eyes engine. All of these are very helpful and have their uses. 62 lets you get over big monsters. Full Armor's a pop. I don't really go into him too much, but he's helpful as a transition piece. Dark Matter. And then Tachyon just negates stuff. It's very nice. So, you know, all in all, they all have their uses, and so kind of just play with it from there. But, you know, the Galaxy Eyes is optional. It's something I like. Then 1 Gustav Max, 1 Big Eye. These are the very optional pieces that I just run for, you know, just because there's not a whole lot of stuff you really want to put in your extra deck. Darklords are a very main deck reliant style of play. And so I run the Big Eye and the Gustav Max on the off chance that you have an Ixchel on the field turn 1. For some reason, they don't destroy it, and then you get a second Ixchel out because each Darklord has a once per turn clause special summon, so you can't special summon more than 1 Ixchel or more than 1 Nostin to make these cards. And so they're just there, you know, on the off chance they come in helpful. And I actually have really wanted the Big Eye on 1 occasion, and so that's why I threw it in here. But you don't actually have to run those. Those are kind of, you know, a personal preference of mine. And then Lynx, Saryuja. This card's absurd. This card's hilarious. It's busted. You know, on the off chance you don't see any of your Vanity's Fiends or Christias, which, let me tell you guys, is a very off chance with how consistent this deck is and how much drawing you do. I think reliably I'll hit, you know, 10 cards left in my deck. I mean, you're going through 3/4 of your deck. I mean, that's absurd. But yeah, Saryuja lets you draw 4, put 3 back, and you're looking for a Christia, or you're looking for a card you could tribute for Vanity's Fiend. Like I said, Vanity's Fiend's your only real normal summon of the deck, so you're always going to have that just waiting, alright? And so, then you could special summon and make Vanity's Fiend even bigger. I mean, it's just hilarious. And then, the 1D code, optional. Akashic, I like Akashic in there, it's actually come in clutch a few times. And then the Proxy Dragon, same deal, I like it in there. But that's our extra deck. Let's go off to the side deck. Alright guys, starting off with the side deck, I quickly want to make a disclaimer. Alright, when I went to my locals, I did not have a side deck. And frankly, I didn't need one. Alright, I forgot it at home. But what you need when you side deck with Darklords is you need to be very, very considerate what you're siding out and what you're siding in. Alright, because Darklords are so reliant on your consistency that if you brick, it's not just like a one-turn brick like, oh, Light Sworns, I drew a ton of normal monsters, I'll wait, I'll see a charge next turn or something. The consistency in those is good enough where, yeah, you'll find it. Darklords brick hard when they brick. It's like a 2-3 turn where you're not putting anything out at all. So you need to be cognizant of what you're taking out and what you're putting in because it hurts the draw power and hurts the targets. Alright, starting off, 3 Ghost Reaper. Alright, Ghost Reaper, listen, is exclusively sided in for Vanity's Fiend when you're going second. Alright, that is the only time you will ever put this card in here. It's to stop FTKs, it's to stop decks that are heavily reliant on one extra deck monster, such as Spirals, Paleozoic, and Lightsworn. Those types of decks, this is what you side in, but be very careful with it, because then you're not getting any lockdown turn 2, and so you're trying to kill. So Toad, Minerva, Dante, Gemnite Quartz, Double Helix, Lyrilusc Ascendant Nightingale. You could switch that out if you have an Electromite. I actually do sometimes enjoy just putting Lyrilusc Ascendant Nightingale for the FTK players because they commit to a board of Starving Venom and then activate the instant fusion. You hit this with Ghost Reaper and then they cannot set up a board with negates. So that's kind of nice. And then the 1 ABC Buster Dragon. So you do run the Ghost Reaper engine, and like I said, you're very, very cognizant on what you're siding out in this deck, because if you side wrong, your consistency is destroyed, and you will lose. Alright. Then we have the 3 Ghost Ogre. This can be any hand trap you prefer. Droll, Ash, Effect Veiler, all are viable choices. This is exclusively sided out against decks that you're worried about them FTKing you, you're worried about them setting up an unbreakable board. And so you side this out for the 2 Christia and then 1 copy of Trade-In. Alright, those are your sides for this. Alright, I'm actually telling you guys this because, like, I ran this a ton of times. I know when these need to come in and what needs to come out. Those are the best options. The rest of the deck is needed for consistency's sake. I cannot stress that enough. And then finally, you run 2 copies of Kaijus. These are exclusively sided in. Man, I feel bad, you know, kind of telling you how to side your own deck. You all know what's up. You know what you're doing. But I side these in, me, for Darklord Christia going second against decks with stuff like Masterpiece, where I'm not too worried about, you know, them special summoning. You know, I'll put in Ghost Ogres and Masterpiece and Kaijus to deal with the True Draco match. That's the rule, pretty much. You want these for Masterpiece. You don't want them in pretty much any other matchup. You know, they're kind of useless in most of the other stuff. But anyway, that is my side. Alright guys, I hope you enjoyed this video as much as I enjoyed making it. Please feel free to drop a like and subscribe below. Really helps me out. And leave a comment on anything you would change, anything you liked, disliked, and just tell me what you think on it. I really enjoy hearing your guys' opinion. That being said, I'll see you guys next time.